volume of emails obtained in connection with an unrelated criminal investigation. During that process, we reviewed all of the communications that were to or from Hillary Clinton while she was Secretary of State. Based on our review, we have not changed our conclusions that we expressed in July with respect to Secretary Clinton, and here is the Comey announcement from July 5th.
Although we did not find clear evidence that Secretary Clinton or her colleagues intended to violate laws governing the handling of classified information, there is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information. In looking back at our investigations into the mishandling or removal of classified information, we cannot find a case that would support bringing criminal charges on these facts.
With that, let's bring in our panel here in New York. Guy Benson, political editor at townhall.com. Caitlin Huey-Burns, national political reporter for Real Clear Politics. And Charles Hurt, political columnist for The Washington Times. Okay, this is another bombshell. Guy, your thoughts?
Well, it's an election week miracle that Democrats and the Hillary Clinton campaign have rediscovered their respect for James Comey and the FBI and their rectitude and definitive judgment on things. There's a couple things that I'm hearing. Some people are saying, how is it possible that the FBI could have gone through 650,000 emails in such a short period of time? But I think it's important to remember those were 650,000 total emails on that computer, most of which had nothing to do with Hillary Clinton or her server. That's a much smaller number, and a fraction of those were new. Most of them were duplicates. Now, I think that looking at the letter from Director Comey, it was probably the right thing for the FBI to try to expedite the process of resolving this issue, this stage of the investigation prior to the election. I also think it was the right call for him to notify Congress 10 days ago that they were reopening the probe because of new evidence. The real problem from where I sit goes back to July, when he decided not to recommend charges against Hillary Clinton, despite the fact that she clearly violated the text of that statute and said that there was no criminal intent, although other people have pointed out, actually, there's quite a bit of evidence of intent.
Right, and that's the key issue. The intent, going back to July, Caitlin, is that he then couldn't get there, and even if whatever he found on Anthony Weiner's laptop, he couldn't get there still about the intent. What does this mean politically for Hillary Clinton? Does it stop the bleeding in some of these states that may have been bleeding in the polls?
Well, voting has been underway in a lot of the states that both Clinton and Trump need to win. Florida, North Carolina, even Ohio. So I think you can argue that, this has been the centerpiece of discussion for over 10 days now in the final stretch of the campaign. So I certainly think it's already had an impact in some ways in the polls. On the other hand, it certainly is welcome news for the Clinton campaign and kind of reconfirms the argument they were trying to make originally. But if you look at the statement that Paul Ryan released tonight, I think that's something that Republicans can seize on in the final couple of days here, which is to say that even though Comey did not recommend criminal charges, he still described her handling of classified information as careless and reckless and so forth.
Here's the specific letter, just to read it. Regardless of this decision, the undisputed finding of the FBI's investigation is that Secretary Clinton put our nation's secrets at risk, and in doing so, compromised our national security. She simply believes she's above the law and always plays by her own rules. This is a pattern with the Clintons, Paul Ryan writes, and the American people should not have to endure 4 more years of their scandal and baggage. Fortunately, the American people have the opportunity to ensure Secretary Clinton never gets her hands on classified information again. Let's bring the Clinton era to an end by voting for Donald Trump on Tuesday. By the